Good morning. You guys are doing well. We're going to be focusing on how to crush smile lines. Let's go through the whole entire process from beginning to end so that you understand. So, we are going to be focusing on prep. You want to be able to push the cuticles back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set our electric file to 3,000 RPMs, a very low speed. We're going to be using an arbor band to tickle away the shine from the surface of the nail. The pressure you're going to be using is a very gentle pressure, like I'm tickling the inside of my wrist. This is the same pressure that you're going to be using when you are gently removing shine around the perimeter of the nail. Again, I don't want to be aggressive. I just want to lightly feather away the shine. You can see I'm using a light feathering motion. All right, tickle, tickle all the way through. You don't want to be aggressive. The client shouldn't feel anything when you're doing this. Once you're done doing that, you're going to be using swipe. And what I like to do is just use a manicure brush and then dust away all the oils, contaminants, and loose sediment on the surface. This is going to give you an ability, if you wanted to come through maybe with a lint-free wipe to get all of it off. This is going to set you up to use protein bond. You want to be able to use 2 coats. Right, so what I usually do, we'll go through, I'll add 1 coat on all 10 nails. As soon as I'm done, I'll come back and add another. All right, for those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash that like button. The more likes we have, it's going to get the word out to those individuals out there that want the right education when it comes to learning how to do any type of enhancement, especially acrylic nails. All right, so what we have to do is we have to get a bead that's going to be able to move with a good flow. When you're doing smile lines, we need an acrylic pearl that is going to move from this point to this point with the least amount of effort. So what I like to do is I have to get a bead about half the size of the nail bed. So with this practice hand, and I'm going to be working with Cover Pink. Sorry, I'm going to be working with Cover Pink. And what I like to do is submerge my brush, get quite a bit of monomer, right? And then again, if I lightly tap and then I use, again, my brush to come in at a 45-degree angle and bounce inside the powder, you're going to notice that I'm going to get a beautiful pearl on one side of my brush. The advantage of this is that when I set this down, notice that it naturally starts to teardrop, right? The smile line will start to move towards the center, right, of the nail that you're trying to build out. We don't want the finger flat, and then when you're setting it down, everything moves off the cuticle area. So for those of you guys that were with me yesterday, you understand that the biggest problem with a lot of people applying product to the nail is that they don't have the right angles. You don't want the finger flat and the brush flat or your angle like this, right? You don't want it in a position, I'll kind of zoom out so that you can see. I don't want to be in a position where I'm like this. I need to be in this position, right? Where the brush is basically resting inside my hand for good balance so that I could use either my ring finger or my pinky finger basically as a fulcrum for balancing points, right? That way when I set it down to the cuticle area, I get the acrylic to move from this point to this point in the least amount of effort. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get a bead that has great movability, slow self-leveling characteristics. And I'm working with Cover Pink. So I'm going to submerge my brush. I'm going to lightly tap. I'm going to pull down. I'm going to bounce inside the powder. I'm going to get myself a nice healthy bead. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, around 4. I'm going to set this down and release. I'm going to use the tip of my brush. I'm going to walk around the perimeter. Notice that the bead is slightly moving down towards the center in a teardrop position. So I can lightly touch the surface, but you can already see that I have a smile line into place. So I want to take my brush, flatten it out, and use the sides. Literally, you can see how I'm just balancing my brush to tuck my smile line back, trying to keep even thickness all the way through. I have contact like this. You're going to notice that I'm not swiping it or cutting it. If I have the right consistency, all I'm going to do is lightly tuck this back. And then for those of you guys that are really working on trying to get your speed down, you're going to notice that after about 20 seconds, everything is going to stop moving. You could literally go on to the next finger and continue the process. If the smile is slightly off, by the time it's dry, what you can do is you can take a hand file around the smile line and get it razor sharp. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just setting this up so that you can see the level of thickness that I have. It's going to be even from corner to corner. This is going to give you the perfect wall to be able to work with. So for those of you guys that join us, make sure you smash that like button. Okay, now what we want to do when we are working with a white or a super white powder, we have to make sure that we get our form. I'm going to take the tab, place it underneath. I'm going to pre-pinch the form. Since I'm going to be doing slightly tapered square, I want to be able to hold it like this so that you could see that C curve. We're going to open up the back end. These are the arms. You're going to notice, like, once I actually have this, there's two ways to apply this with perfection. You can hold the handle, you can come underneath the free edge. Once you actually get this dead straight where it's touching underneath, honestly, all you would have to do, hold it in place, secure the side, and as you can see, you have an absolutely straight nail form. You could also use the arms as a way, and again, you can see I'm holding this, I'm coming underneath. Once I have it at an angle, I'm going to use this to rock it up. Once it's touching, I'm going to secure the side, and again, I have perfect form application. Okay, now we're going to be working with speed white. The biggest problem that a lot of people have when they're working with white powders is that they don't know how to set it to a form without it getting away from them. So you have to remember you're working on a convex surface. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash that like button. You're going to notice if I take my brush and I submerge it in liquid and I tap it, if I was to pull down, bounce inside the powder and go right to the nail form and then start attacking it, look what happens. Like, this is an absolute disaster. You're going to run into a lot of problems if you are working with your powder in this consistency. What you have to remember is that when you submerge your brush and tap it, let's say I have that same amount of liquid. If I pull down inside the powder and bounce, watch this. If I take my brush and I set it to the back side and I give it maybe, again, like 5 seconds, watch the difference when I set this. Look at that, first bead is still running. If I set this to the surface, bro, I have absolute clay-like consistency. Clay-like consistency. Slow, self-leveling, controllable. Look at this. If I pick it up, it's going to stop. It's going to give me the ability to move this into place without sticking to my brush. This is what you need when you're working with a white powder. So what we have to make sure when we're setting this, and again, the hardest nail to do, you guys, is pink and white nails. And the reason why pink and white nails are the hardest nails to do is because if you don't do them right, all your mistakes show up when you file it into perfection. If you don't have great, basically, body application, you will have imperfections in your smile line. If you don't have great white application, you're going to have shadows. You're going to have unevenness. You're not going to have straight sidewalls. We want to, as you're looking at this from this point of view, we need to make sure that we're getting our sidewalls dead straight. We don't want it wider than the sides. We want it within the growth channel so that it's going to be absolutely perfect. Again, for those of you guys that joined us, make sure to smash that like button. I'm going to submerge my brush. I'm going to lightly tap. I'm going to pull down. I'm going to bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to set my brush down. 1, 2, 3, 4, around 5. I'm going to turn it over right up to the smile line. I'm going to set this. from the top of the bead. Watch this. I'm going to walk it from the top, bring it even with the side, walk it from the top, even with the side, walk it from the top, even with the side. Dude, look at that. Now, look at that right there. Watch what I'm going to do. Get it even with the side, walk it from the top, even with the side, and I continue to do that until I get all the way to the corner. Now, at this point, it's a juggling act. Everything is even. I'm able to get the white completely perfect to the sides, right? So what I'll do is I'll continue to work back over the surface to make sure that my sides are going to be straight, using the side of my brush to keep this absolutely perfect. And you can see that the white is tucked all the way up to the very top of the smile line, not below. I could use the side of my brush. And the best part about this is you have the workability and the time. If I wanted to stretch this out, right, I wanted to put it into a better position. If I wanted to create maybe a little bit more tapered square or a coffin nail, I'll be able to create that and make it absolutely perfect. And that's what you want to be able to do. You have to remember, if you're looking at this from the side profile, right? It's like an upward ramp. I'm trying to get the product tucked all the way to the corner, but you'll notice that my sidewalls built out are completely even. They're not hanging down at an angle or dipping. I don't want to create a bird claw. I want to be able to create a nail where most of my filing is going to be up here through the stress area. All right, so that's done. I wanted to be able to show you the process of actually building it and letting it, and you're going to go through the whole entire process and actually get this filed out to absolute perfection. Let me go ahead and remove this because we're not going to need it. I already have a nail that's complete so that you can see how it's actually filed out to perfection. Okay, so once you're done with the process, what we're going to do, I also want to be able to show you this, your monomer, your brush. If you keep your brush sitting inside here, you're going to notice that I need to be diligent about removing all the excess acrylic, especially after you're done. Let it sit in here for about 5 minutes and then come out. And if you spin the acrylic off and you use your towel to remove excess from your brush, you're never going to have it gucked up hard and basically unusable for future use. Let's go make sure that we get everything basically sealed, tightened so no dust gets inside our powders, inside our liquid. Let's go ahead and remove this. Let's go ahead and get my dust extractor. And what we want to be able to do, again, is we want to be able to get this into position so you're going to see how I'm going to file this perfect. So if my white is done well, what I'll be able to do is hold the file. I'll be able to get my sidewalls absolutely straight. I can get my free edge dead square or I can taper it. And then what I like to do, since I'm working with the hand, I want to make sure that I don't file this off. I'm going to turn the hand to the side. I'm going to line this up at the lowest point and file up until my hand file reaches the corner. That way I build absolutely flawless extensions. I don't want to make a problem right there. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash that like button. It's going to be able to get the content out to more people that are starving for nail education. Perfect. I got my sidewalls dialed in. So, and this is what it comes to. For those of you guys who have taken the shaping class, it's a matter of shaping it in a 5-point position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're now going to take our electric file. We are going to we're going to put our safety bit on. We're going to fire this up. I'm going to get this up to about, I'd say 12,000, 13,000 RPMs. I'm using an overgrip position right now. You're going to notice that as I start to file through the upper arc and work down through the center of the nail, that big lump that was showing up in the middle ends up disappearing. You're going to notice that the level of sharpness coming through the smile line, this is where the magic happens. As soon as I start filing behind the smile line and through the body in one direction, look at this is crazy, but that level Like, look, that it looks like that smile line was cut out with a razor blade. And that's what you want to be able to accomplish. I'm going to go around the cuticle area. We're going to reduce a little bit of thickness around there. And then as soon as we're done, we're going to follow through the body, making sure that I'm coming through, removing all the excess from side to side to make sure it's completely even. That way, again, the least amount of filing once you're done. So once I'm actually done removing all the excess from the surface, I'm going to take my hand file. I'm going to go around the perimeter of the nail to blend this. Again, I don't like, because my cuticle area was applied well, the amount of filing that I have to do around the cuticle area is virtually nothing. If I hold my hand file in a position where all I have to do, right, I'm going to kind of divide this into two sections. If I end up filing down this left side, you're going to notice, look at how sharp my white is all the way to the corner. I do not remove any of the white at all. I can literally focus on this left side, and then when I do the right side, I'm going to position my hand in a way where my finger's over the top, contact going into the nail. Don't pick at it this way. Go into the nail and then let the contact go down. So what you're going to notice is I'm actually able to feather this into perfection. And last but not least, let me go ahead and bring this camera up. You're going to notice when we're looking here, you want to be able to look at the client profile so that we can get this absolutely even from side to side. And what I like to follow up with is down the barrel. Make a peace sign. I could rest this over the surface. I could file down the barrel to make sure that it's absolutely even. And then what I'm going to do is I'll maybe use a light sponge over the top. And then you're going to notice, right, when I wipe this clean, dude, you're going to get pink and white nails that look like that. That is what you're going to learn when you come here. How to create absolute flawless perfection through the work you do with zero shadows, right? Zero problems, great structure, natural looking shape. And again, whether you're doing it in a tapered square, you're doing it in a stiletto nail, you're doing it in a coffin nail, learning how to build the nail in a reverse application is the ticket, is the key. Okay, so once we're done doing that, what I like to do, just to show you guys the finishing process, we're going to clean the surface. And then what I like to do, let me bring this camera down so that you guys can see. But we have to make sure that we add a little bit of protein bond, at least around the edges and through the surface. Once that dries out, we can go ahead and use finish gel. Go ahead and get this. All right, and and then once we apply a coat of our finish over the surface, you're going to see, right? And I wanted to make sure that we went through the whole entire process of application, right, and finishing so that you can see how to build sculptured pink and white nails with flawless perfection. Okay? Right on. That's what it comes down to. All right, so remember to hit that like button, smash that like button. It's going to help a lot of people out there who are looking to do nails. It just gets the content out to more individuals that are starving for more nail education. For those of you guys that want information, you can call 1-800-777-9170. You can go to www.youngnails.com. You can go to YouTube, Young Nails Inc. There's thousands of videos for you guys to review. I also appreciate your time, you tuning in. And again, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot. Peace.
Subscribe the channel now. Subscribe the channel now. Subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel